Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. And in this video, we're gonna start with Blender, and my friend is gonna teach some 3D animation while I'm gonna focus more on the 3D modeling aspects. So the first step to start with Blender is to actually download Blender. So there's a link in the description where you guys can click, and which is gonna redirect you to this link over here. Now it depends on the operating system that you use. I just use a Mac, so I'm gonna download Blender. Click on download Blender and it should start downloading. And okay, you're gonna have to click on keep. The latest version of Blender at the time of this video is 2.79b, which is beta. So yeah, I'm just gonna pause the video and get back to you once the download is completed. So now the download is completed, so I'm going to click on the file to install Blender. So all you have to do is take this file, drag it to the other one, and there we go. Blender is almost done installing. So I'm going to close that and make a spotlight search for Blender, and this should open up Blender for you. Now in this video we're just going to focus on downloading Blender, which we just did, and also some basic shortcuts which I'm going to teach you in a couple of minutes probably. And then yeah, in the next video we're going to actually start 3D modeling, so make sure you stay tuned for that. So once you've opened Blender, you're often provided with a cube, and you can zoom in and zoom out by using the scroll wheel, and you can turn the object along any free axis by holding down the third mouse wheel button. It's always important to use a mouse while doing 3D modeling because it becomes quite necessary for actual and proper 3D modeling. Also, I've turned on a feature which you might or might not want. I'm not going to show you how to do that, but the feature is basically whatever I press on my keyboard or my mouse is shown in the screen, so that you guys can follow along sometimes if I forget to mention what I'm pressing. So there are multiple shortcuts. The first one is delete, which you can just like type X and press enter to delete. So in order to add an object, you just press Shift A and you're given with a bunch of options. So in the first few videos we're just going to use the mesh option and use any of the objects. So let me just insert a cylinder. I just feel like inserting a cylinder. So yeah, and there's scaling, which can be accessed by S. And for example, you scaled it and you want to undo it, you just right click. And also you can scale it along different axes, which is as X for example, and it scales it along the X axis. So we just change the scaling of this object along the X axis. And we can also, okay, you can always Command Z, which shows as OS key Z because command is an OS key in a Mac. So yeah, so we just scale it along X axis. You can also scale it along the Z axis or even the Y axis. It's quite obvious. And you can always use just S to scale it along all the axes. So you can also grab the object and move it anywhere you want. Again, remember, you can right click to undo whatever you've done. You can also grab it along different axes, G, X, G, Z, or GY. And Command Z brings it back. Another option would be to yeah, you can, there is something called the tools menu which you can enable and disable using the T key. There's something called properties tab which comes out if you press the key N. And yeah, so obviously there's also a rotate function in Blender which lets you rotate along any axis. Just pressing the R lets you do it in any axis, and you can also go axis specific in pretty much all the editing functions. So I can go R by to rotate it along the y-axis, and our Z to rotate it along the z-axis. Now you can also provide angles for rotating, so you can go Rx and a 90. So it's going to rotate the object along the x-axis. So with an angle of 90 degrees. You can also do it along various axes. So yeah, sorry, I messed up the plural and singular form of axes. So you can also rotate it along the z-axis. Another important function, so if you left click on any option on any part of the screen, it's going to change the 3D cursor, and sometimes it becomes quite necessary for you to insert objects along the center of the plane. So let's say you wanna by mistake you press the left button of your mouse on some part of the screen and you try to insert an object, and it's going to do there. It's going to insert it there, which is something we don't need. So you can always press Shift C to get the cursor back into the center, and then you can insert your required object. So that is how it works. That's pretty much it. You can so this part on the right, which I'm not sure what you call, probably it's not the properties tab, it's probably just the settings. I'm not sure what they call it. So yeah, there's different options in here where you can change the textures, which is something we're going to cover in a video to come. And yeah, you can add textures, colors, and change the render options, render settings, render resolution, and so on and so forth. So another important thing that I forgot to mention in the video is that of redo. So you can probably do something stupid which you didn't want. You can probably go Control Z to undo what you did. But let's say you go crazy again and you wanted to redo what you did, and Control Y does not work. So it's important to remember the shortcut for redo, which is Command Shift and Z. In Windows, it's going to be every time I say command, it's going to be the Control key, which is also something important because you might be working on Windows. So remember, Control Shift Z is redo, Control Z is undo. Yeah, so I think that's it for today's video. In the next Blender video, we're gonna start off by building a house, which is one of the most simple 3D model that I can think of. So yeah, we're gonna build a house. So make sure you stay tuned in our YouTube channel, Crossroads. Yeah, so if you like this video, make sure to give a thumbs up, share to your friends, also subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye bye.